I knew there had to be ideas of resistance, manifest best in the guise of my distance. This persistence ends with a comma, or I can spell it out. I don't rap for no drama corps. Open heart, sore blood on my sleeves, but I can't stop the progress. No time to grieve. Get your act straight and maybe we'll be friends again. Till then, represent, this is next gen.
Number 1 is the fans, 2 is ourselves, 3 is the music, the content itself. Give a damn about dollars, man, we rather make sense. We are the next gen, this is the next gen. 1 is the fans, 2 is ourselves, 3 is the music, the content itself. Give a damn about dollars, man, we rather make sense. We are the next gen, this is the next gen. He made the name for the music and not vice versa. They lost sight, loud mouths all hurt us. Blame our own people and we end up getting burnt. Took the dream of a proud man and dragged it through the dirt. Bickering, fighting like a bunch of bitchy kids. And you wonder why the listeners still don't give a shit. Old hindsight's always 20/20. Well, I should've walked backwards and seen the shit coming. Can't believe I love you, can't believe I fought for you. I just did what I thought the Godfather do. Lars says instead, make certain he retracts. Then you call it to a forum, stab it in the back. At tu brute, you brought us shame. And all you so-called rappers are soiled in name.
Hello everybody and welcome to another Walking Dead recap. Yesterday was the next to last episode in the season, with next week being the 1.5 hour season finale. There's a lot that happened this episode, and a lot that actually didn't happen, so we're going to go through a lot of stuff. And this time I actually took notes, so I know exactly what happens in what order. We actually open up with a walker struggling towards the community, as we see a couple scenes happening at the same time. One, Dina and her family is mourning Aiden's death, and they put on his Run Mix CD and start listening to it. While Carol is baking a casserole for them. At some point they go on, turn off the CD, and then the doorbell rings as Carol leaves the casserole on the ground with a note that's saying, "We are truly sorry," which Dina burns and doesn't accept the casserole. I wonder if this is a callback from from last week, with the priest going up to them and saying that Rick's people is evil. I really didn't like that decision, and this is starting the thing. And then we see Sasha, while this is happening, in the watchtower, hesitating to kill the zombies. She eventually does, but that's only because at first she was getting choked up because of Noah's death. And then we see Daryl and Aaron out in the forest, and they come across a light. So they start heading towards it. And then we go back to Dina watching the evidence of Nicholas talking while Glenn is talking to Rick. At first it doesn't seem like he's talking to Rick, but then it pans out and talks to Rick, and he said something really profound to Rick, and it seems like Rick is becoming unhinged, and we'll see more of that later on. But it seems like he's trying to gather his people in a bid to take over this town, and so far he's been 0 for 1, or actually, I'm sorry, 1 for 2. And now he's 1 for 3, as Glenn says, no, we need to make it work here. So, that happens, and then, right after that, Carol and Rick start talking about Pete again. And it comes to light that, yeah, Pete is beating up Jesse, and because of Carol's past with Ed, she doesn't want that repeated. And I do understand that, but she also makes it clear to Rick that she knows exactly why Rick is interested in this. And that's because he likes Jesse. Okay, and then right after that, we see Michonne for the first time in 2 weeks. I missed her, but I don't know if I like this new Michonne. She didn't get any sleep the night before. She starts looking at the laundry, saying this is all real. And then Rosita comes in. I never even knew that they actually bonded before. It might be in one of those episodes I haven't seen yet. But Rosita does talk about Tara and the fact that Tara is stable, which makes me really mad at Rick at the moment, because this is probably the only person that can save Tara at the moment, and he's just has this beef with them because of Jesse. And then one thing did come to light during this talk. They talk about Sasha being up in the watchtower, which I'm surprised about, because last time we seen Sasha, she was being let out the gates with like her gear and everything. So she must have taken up resident. I don't know if that's a lack of continuity there, or if we just kind of misread the thing there. But it comes to light that she snuck up to the watchtower from the previous nights and has been up there all night, and then Abraham is up there now. Now this means that actually there's a member of Rick's group taking turns in the watchtower to kill these zombies as they come up. So this community is actually a lot better for Rick's group being there, but I don't think it's gonna happen. And then we cut away to Dina morning, looking over the fresh graves, and Rick comes up to her, asks her how she's doing, and then starts talking about Pete. Dina knew about Pete and just hoped it would get better. Now this is where a good philosophical debate happens, and about what is reality and what is not. And Rick's like, the reality is, well, you either kill them or thing. And she's like, no, I exile them. Dina, my dear, do you know exiling them is the same as killing them? It just means your blood's not dirtied. And when you die, you're still going to come back as a zombie, because we all have it, no matter how good you are. So, and this actually shows how far Rick has gone. He's totally believing that his way is the right way, saying that, you know, this is the way it has to be, or everything. And then we see Carl and Enid bond, and this is actually a really fun scene, and I liked it a lot. And she actually said that she's scared of Carl. Then they take a timer out, throws it to distract the zombies, and then they go talk. Then we see Glenn confront Nicholas, saying, this is how it's going to be. You're not going out anymore. You're not going to have any guns, you're not going to go out anymore, and that the whole reason you're alive is because this community went up when it did. Nicholas tries to say, hey, I've been here protecting and everything, and if your idea of protecting is running and killing people, I think it's really messed up. Then we go back to Carl and Enid, and some zombies start walking past, and they go into the tree, into like a tree, and she says something most profound, and it's their world, we're just living in it. And then they start almost holding hands and kissing, and then she tells him, you're scared of me too, which is actually pretty sneaky. Carl's got a love. But I also believe that something's going to happen to Carl now, and that's only because I've been conditioned that whenever there's a slow motion thing, like what happened with him and Enid, that something's going to happen to one of those two. It was one of those slow-mo, like, remember this kind of fantasy type thing. So, one of them is going to happen to, and hopefully it's not Carl, because Rick will actually go down, like, really bad. And then next scene we see Nick going outside the walls and taking a gun out of a cookie jar that he has hidden. This is not going to end well. And then we go back to Michonne and Rosita. The one thing that this episode was good at, it was actually good at bringing some of the other characters back into the fold that we haven't seen for a while. And Michonne and Rosita were talking about everything, and she's like, and it seems like Michonne is trying to forget her old life, and then she says, I kind of don't want to. And then we see Rick talking to Jesse about the whole thing, saying that this needs to stop, and she tells him no. And then Rick goes outside, walks a few paces, sees a few scenes, and then goes back in and tells her, yeah, you kind of do need to do it. And then she agrees, and then he comes in, and basically he gets an argument with her. She tells him to leave. Rick's standing right there saying, hey dude, we're both gonna leave right now. And then they start fighting. As this is happening, we cut back to Sasha, like just hitting all the well, actually no, before this, I'm sorry. Before this, we see Daryl and Aaron going into the forest and seeing the girl chained up to a tree. And the first thing I thought was, hey, it's Carol. Because the whole Trinity thing a couple episodes ago. But it does seem like somebody's weaponizing zombies, which is interesting. Maybe next week we see actually who is weaponizing these and everything. We come back down and come back, and yes, Rick and Pete are still fighting, and they're actually in town square with everything, and Rick has a meltdown. And I don't know if it's had to happen or whatever. Dina eventually comes and splits them up and goes, this needs to stop. As this is happening, we see Sasha back up in the watchtower, killing zombies again. And then Dina's like, Rick is telling Dina that this needs to, we need to decide who decides to stay and who needs to decide to go. And Dina's like, yep, this is made abundantly clear to me. They're going to get rid of the group. I have a feeling that because of like the priest's discussion with her last night, that they're gonna make the group leave, which is kind of sad. But then at the end of the episode ends when Michonne knocks Rick out and then just stares blankly into the camera. So now he is now 1 for 4 about people staying. So it doesn't look like he has the support of his group if he tries a coup here, which is kind of really interesting. And I don't know, this episode to me was kind of good, but kind of setting up the finale, I think. I think it's going to come down to Dina and him, and who and decides. And I don't think Rick is going to win. I think he's going to probably be going outside the walls here. But I also think that somebody's going to... I mean, we already know somebody's going to die. And it's going to be sad. But who is going to die is the question. And I think after last night, I think it's going to be Carl. But, you know, we don't know. So... But that's my recap of last night's Walking Dead. Sorry if you got any spoilers in there. And as always, you can always like this video, subscribe to my channel, and just be awesome. As a side note, tomorrow I'll be doing something different than my normal tea time video, because I want to kick off my whole female protagonist video line. So I will see everybody tomorrow. So it's time to close this world and open the next.